The last page in the packet was blank, except for a heading. Narrative. Please describe in as much detail as you can where the subject was during the years 1939 to 1945. 60 years they had, Slava said, and they do it the moment she dies. Well, grandfather hung his head. They investigated the window, South Brooklyn steaming in the dense July night. A clothesline strung with large underthings wavered in the breeze. So, grandfather said, turning to face Slava, "Can you write something?" Slava nearly laughed. This was grandfather. The rules were right there, but he was going to ask anyway. Slava searched for the word. Gone? Wasn't? They hadn't come to an acceptable word yet. Not about grandmother, grandfather said. About whom then? About me. Now Slava laughed. I don't think they're giving out restitution for evacuations to Uzbekistan. Grandfather poked the paper with a square nail. They are, but it's dicey. Some yes, some no. Either way, it's less money. But ghettos and concentration camps, it's a green path all the way. So give me one of those. You're a writer, aren't you? Slava opened his hands. Now I'm a writer. You write for the newspaper where you work, he said. That's what you said. It's a magazine, Slava said. So this is like an article for your newspaper. Articles for my newspaper are not invented. This country does not invent things, grandfather said, his eyes flashing. Bush did not invent a reason to cut off Saddam's balls. When the stocks fall down, it's not because someone invented the numbers. This country has nothing to do with it. You don't know how to do it, is that it? I do know how to do it, Slava said through his teeth. Then do it, grandfather said, for your grandmother. Do it. Grandfather snorted, as if he'd been asked to sell a perfectly healthy horse at half value. All the men were taken right away. Aaron, father, all the cousins. Father was too old for infantry, so they took him to heavy labor. 2 years later, there's a knock at the door. I see the skeleton in rags, so I shout to my mother, "There's a beggar at the door, give him some food." Not a strange sight in those days. And he starts weeping. It was father. A week later, they told us about Aaron, killed by artillery. I wanted to spare my mother losing the last of her men, so yes, I went to Uzbekistan, not to live in a palace, to pick pockets and piss myself on the street so they'd think I was a retard and not draft me. He looked away. Look, I came back. I enlisted. On a ship in liberated territory, Slava said. Look, I didn't make up the rules. The paper says ghettos, forced labor, concentration camps. What are you, Lenin's grandson? Grandfather said. Maybe I didn't suffer in the exact way I need to have suffered, he flicked a finger at the envelope. But they made sure to kill all the people who did. We had our whole world taken out from under us. No more dances, no holidays, no meals with your mother at the stove. A meal like this, he pointed at the living room, do you know what it means to have a meal like this? Do you know what we came back to after the war? Tomatoes the size of your head. They'd fertilize them with human ash. You follow? So now you want your revenge, Slava said. Heist the German government. The German government, grandfather said? The German government should be grateful to get off this easy. This German government didn't kill anyone. So everyone, we should say thank you? Grandfather slapped his hands, the pop rising to the ceiling. What is it? Slava said. Do you need more money? He pointed around them. The bureau, the bed, the tricked out lamps keeping sentry in the corners. Money? Grandfather said, drawing back. Money makes the world go round. Money's not the only reason, but I don't know anyone who's been hurt by money. Why did you never tell me any of that before, Slava said, about evacuation? We didn't want those ugly things in your head. We wanted you above us. Enough hands had to go into the dirt, so yours wouldn't have to. So, this is a rose you're asking me to smell? It's family, Slavic. Let's skip the big words if you don't mind. It's crime. That's our family. Do you know what the punishment is if we're caught? I would give my right arm for you if that's what it took. That's family. If that's what took. You safe. You happy. Grandfather slapped the nightstand between them. This conversation is over. I don't need your services. I don't need your right arm.
My favorite character in your book is the grandfather, who is a delinquent, semi-delinquent character who breaks all the rules as he sees fit, who has great dialogue. Who is your favorite character in the book?
I also learn a lot about my readers by hearing which character is their favorite. And of course, it's no surprise that by many votes, the winner is Grandfather. For me as well, I'm far more interested in Grandfather perhaps than any other character. Why? Because he is a liberation. He allows the reader and the author to behave badly, vicariously. As a Jew in the Soviet Union, and then as an immigrant in America, my #1 mission was to learn the rules and abide by them as closely as I could, to be a good citizen in every sense of the word. And I succeeded. I passed for an American very quickly after immigrating. But then once you've persuaded yourself and the others around you that you can pass for one of them, a kind of imp inside you begins to rise up and ask for something else. Also, it's not accidental that the context is a country, the context for this story is a country that has not forgotten its Puritan roots and is quite legalistic and sees very many issues in a kind of black and white way. And so I think for many readers, inhabiting Grandfather for the duration of the novel is a great release into a less noble kind of living, because we all have, what he has inside him, we all have inside us. It's just that some of us don't have the moxie to bring it out in a way that he does.